What's the oldest written constitution that guarantees religious freedom and equal rights? If you guess the U.S. Constitution, you're off by about 1,000 years. In 622 CE in Medina, the Medinan Charter was drafted, arguably the world's first written constitution. It united Muslims, Jews, and pagans into one political community, giving everyone a seat at the table. This was a legally binding contract for a pluralistic society. While Europe was in the so-called Dark Ages, Medina was laying down principles we still debate today: equal citizenship and minority protection. The charter was designed for a messy, diverse society. The Medinan Charter is too important to stay buried. It challenges our assumptions about democracy, human rights, and religious tolerance. Understanding it might just give us clues for dealing with our own divided world. Before Medina was the city of the Prophet, it was Yathrib, a city trapped in endless tribal warfare. The Aws and Khazraj tribes were locked in a blood feud, with every dispute sparking another battle. Justice was settled by the blade, not the law. The social structure was built on asabiya, extreme tribal loyalty. If your cousin fought, you fought. This fueled cycles of revenge, leaving the city exhausted and economically ruined. Yathrib was a mix of Arab and Jewish tribes, each with their own alliances, a powder keg waiting for a spark. Trade was disrupted, farming was risky, and nobody felt safe. The people were desperate for a solution, but their own system made peace impossible. They needed an outsider. This is the world the Medinan Charter was born into. Not peace, but the fires of conflict. The people of Yathrib were ready for something different, a path to security and a shared future. They needed a leader who could see beyond tribal lines, and that's exactly what they were about to get. With Yathrib on the verge of collapse, its leaders did something radical. They looked for an outside mediator. They needed someone with integrity, not from the Aws or Khazraj, to referee their endless conflict. Their search led them to Prophet Muhammad in Makkah, known for his wisdom and fairness. Delegations from Yathrib asked him to be their chief arbitrator, not to convert, but to save their city. When Muhammad arrived in 622 CE, he didn't pick sides or demand loyalty. Instead, he listened and initiated consultation with all major groups: Muslim immigrants, local converts, and the Jewish tribes. He built consensus, not commands, a revolutionary approach in a world ruled by force. He proposed a written agreement, a social contract binding all communities together. Each clause was debated and agreed upon by every group. The result was the Medinan Charter, a masterstroke of diplomacy. Muhammad established authority through justice, not force, giving Yathrib a new way to live. The first clause of the Medinan Charter was a game-changer. They are a single community ummah, distinct from other people. Here, ummah meant everyone who signed: Muslims, Jews, all tribes. The charter created a super-tribe based on shared citizenship, not blood or faith. It didn't erase tribal identity, but made citizenship in Medina the top priority. Suddenly, your closest ally might be your Jewish neighbor, not a distant tribesman. This shift from tribalism to constitutionalism unified the city's defense. An attack on one was an attack on all. The charter replaced chaotic alliances with collective security. Now everyone had each other's back. This political ummah made religious freedom, equal justice, and mutual protection possible. Diverse groups could coexist and cooperate for the common good, without giving up their traditions. The charter showed unity didn't require sameness, just a system that guaranteed everyone's rights. It was a practical solution to a real-world problem. Medina became a new kind of squad, and everyone was on the team. One of the most remarkable parts of the Medinan Charter is its explicit guarantee of religious freedom. Clause 25 states, "To the Jews their religion, and to the Muslims their religion." This wasn't vague. It was a binding constitutional clause protecting the Jewish community's right to practice freely. The Charter recognized Jews as a distinct community with their own laws and customs. This principle was rooted in the Quran, There is no compulsion in religion. The Charter put that into political practice, making religious identity irrelevant to citizenship rights. Jewish tribes weren't treated as subjects, but as partners in the new state. They maintained legal autonomy in personal matters, with their own judges and laws. The Charter created legal pluralism, different communities living by their own codes under a shared contract. This level of respect for other faiths' traditions was unprecedented. It built trust after decades of conflict, showing the new state wasn't about imposing one religion. The Charter's promise of peaceful coexistence was real, and it was kept. It was a model of inclusion centuries ahead of its time. The Medinan Charter didn't stop at religious freedom. It established equal protection under the law. All citizens, regardless of tribe or religion, were entitled to security. The protected neighbor is as the man himself, even if they were from a different faith. The Charter created a central, neutral judicial authority, ending biased tribal justice. Major disputes went before Prophet Muhammad for arbitration, ensuring fairness. It enshrined individual responsibility. No more collective punishment for one person's crime. Guilt was individual, not tribal, a huge step forward for civil society. The Charter declared the Valley of Yathrib a sanctuary, a weapons-free zone for all. By combining equal protection, centralized justice, and the sanctity of the city, the Charter created a new social and political framework. It didn't just stop a war, it built a foundation for lasting peace. Medina became a city governed by law, not vengeance. Modern scholars agree the Medinan Charter was centuries ahead of its time. Historian Montgomery Watt called it a remarkable political document, not just religious, but sophisticated statecraft. Dr. John Esposito described it as perhaps the first constitution to guarantee rights for religious minorities. While Europe was centuries from the Magna Carta, Medina was guaranteeing rights for all citizens. The Charter's brilliance was its pragmatism, a practical blueprint for pluralism, not utopia. Justice Kurian Joseph of India points to it as a model for managing diversity in modern nations. The Charter proves that tolerance and human rights aren't just Western ideas. They have deep roots in Islamic tradition. It's a counter-narrative to both extremists and Islamophobes. The Charter stands as a 1,400-year-old testament to enlightened governance. Fast forward 400 years. The world's changed, but some problems remain: sectarian conflict, extremism, persecution. In 2019, over 1,200 Islamic scholars from 139 countries gathered in Makkah to create a modern version of the Medinan Charter, the Makkah Charter. Led by Dr. Muhammad Al-Issa, they drafted a declaration promoting the core values of Medina: equal citizenship, minority protection, and rejection of hate. The Makkah Charter directly confronts extremist ideologies, using Islamic principles to dismantle their arguments. It affirms the legitimacy of the modern nation-state and calls for Muslims to be good citizens, promoting integration. It addresses contemporary issues, women's empowerment, youth, environmental protection, and condemns the misuse of religion for violence. The Charter is having real impact, endorsed by the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, used in Nigeria and Indonesia for interfaith peace and education. Leaders use it as a tool for faith diplomacy, showing shared values can bridge divides. The Makkah Charter is Medina's legacy in action, a roadmap for a compassionate, tolerant future. Ancient wisdom, modern relevance. What's the big takeaway? The Medinan Charter is more than a historical artifact. It's a timeless blueprint for unity and diversity. It teaches that unity isn't about erasing differences, but building a framework of shared values. The people of Medina didn't stop being Jewish, Muslim, or tribal. They just agreed their shared identity as citizens mattered more. This lesson is more relevant than ever in our fractured world. The Charter challenges us to move beyond us versus them thinking. It shows a path forward based on dialogue, mutual respect, and principles that protect everyone. Its values, religious freedom, equal justice, collective security, are universal. The fact that they were articulated over a millennium ago proves their enduring power. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes we just need to look at the blueprints left behind. The Medinan Charter offers a powerful message of hope. Even in the face of deep conflict, unity is possible. That's a lesson worth remembering.